everyone. Welcome to Flipping Learning with Adobe. This is the first of three sessions that we'll be running around this topic. Flipping learning, I think, is something that can be quite a simple concept, but we can, I think, make it more difficult than it is intended to be. Um, intended to be. That's the word I'm looking for. So just a little bit of a heads up about the next 3 weeks. So this will happen every Monday night for the next 3 weeks, the 24th of November, the 1st and the 8th of December, starting at 8 p.m. Sydney time, which is 5 p.m. Perth time, and 11 p.m. Auckland time. So hopefully that can work with some of you. Every session will be recorded and shared with you. If you have registered correctly, you will receive a link. If not, I will make sure that all links are popped onto this bit.ly Flipping Learning 2014, and I'll show you that document shortly. So you'll be able to make sure that you can get to everything there. Hey Simon, good to see you. Week one, we're going to cover sort of like some of the theory of flipping learning, because I think it's important to consider that, and then just look at some simple ways we can create tutorials. I really don't think we should be spending too much time creating the content. We want to create good content, but thanks, Simon, that's lovely. But we want to create good stuff. Week two, we're going to work with how to create pop quizzes into the middle of tutorials, and how to make them sort of your flip learning, not just like, so it's watching a video, then answering questions from Miss. How can we actually, yeah, Simon, yeah, it's a bit, is that a little bit better? I'm working off a laptop in the middle of Adelaide, and I don't have my usual stuff with me, so I'm hoping that you can hear just as well like that. I'll hold it very close to my mouth. All right, so then in week three, we're going to work more with the learning analytics. So Captivate Presenter has this wonderful back-end dashboard okay, why don't I just try and turn this up a little bit? Hold on a second. I'm just going to head into here, head into there, head into there, there, head into there. Is that better? Has that made a difference, everyone? Has that made a difference at all? Hey, good. Okay, sorry about that. So then we're going to head into look at the learning analytics that are in Presenter, which are very, very cool and will make your life much, much easier. Hey, Demet, welcome aboard. And we're also going to look at Captivate 8 has this wonderful new capability to create responsive. So what I mean by responsive is that you can open up an iPad and it's going to look good for you. There's not all pinching and scrolling to look at things. So you can plan for that when you create your content, and you can make things better from the start. So that's what we're going to be doing for the next 3 weeks. This is a BOSTES registered course. So if you want registration, please pop your name up the top in the questions for our presenter. If you would like the registered hours for it. It's at PT level at this stage, so proficient teacher level. So just pop in there and I'll make sure that you get the hours for that. You will need to submit to me or submit via the Adobe Education Exchange. Hi everyone, I'm back. Hopefully you can hear me. Is that good? Excellent. I lost all my connectivity, so I'm now having to hotspot from my phone. Welcome to Adelaide. Woohoo! All right, so let's keep going, hey? So in a minute, okay. All right, so the two pieces of software we're going to be using the most for the next 2 weeks is Presenter 10 and Captivate 8. Now, in the Department of Education, I understand you have Presenter 9 and probably Captivate 7. There's been some significant changes, so if you need to, what you see may or may not be available in those pieces of software. So let's have a look then at what exactly is flipped learning. And I guess a definition, there we go. So that's through the DEC software. You can purchase them very cheaply if you're Department of Education. So if you're basically a definition for flipped learning is that it is a pedagogical approach in which direct instruction moves from the group learning space to the individual learning space, and the resulting group space is transformed into a dynamic, interactive learning environment where the educator guides students as they apply concepts and engage creatively in the subject matter. So some people see flipped learning as just creating videos or tutorials and sending it home. I actually see flipped learning as a style of learning where your classroom is where the discussions happen. Your classroom is where the hard questions happen. That students come into your classroom and you already know what they know about a topic because you've got some learning analytics while they've been doing some quizzes or some different content viewing at home. To me, that's what flipped learning is all about. It's not just about sending students home to watch a video because we all know that that's really boring and it's just replicating bad practice if all we're doing is just sending some little YouTubes home to be watched. So I guess it to me, and we're going to go through this in a second, flipped learning is actually all about the questioning. It's about collaboration in the classroom, and it's about making sure that you know what students know so that you can push them through to the next bit. So if we just have a look here at what some of the pros are, it's students identify what they know about a topic of work. So if you set, and particularly with Presenter, you can set quizzes and you can actually jump into the Learning Analytics dashboard and see which questions they're getting correct or which questions they're not getting correct. So by the time they set foot into your classroom the next day or the next week, then you know what they know and you can work with that. And I think that's really cool and something we probably haven't done that well in the past. That they reflect on their knowledge and they can set their own goals because they can see how they're doing at home. Therefore, they can come into the classroom and go, you know what, sir, I'm really not getting this topic. So then you can pop a bunch of students, you can see they didn't get it together. You can sit down and work with those students while another bunch of students you see that they flew through the content. So they've obviously got quite a high knowledge, so they can work on some nutty, meaty questions together to nut out the answers. So it's about, I guess in a way, it's almost like a differentiation approach as well. I just realised I'm coming up as Melissa Jones now. Oh no, that's all right. Yes, I just need to change my name quickly to, there we go. All right, that'll help you in a second. All right, so it's about teachers being guides to learning and really sort of being a master chef of the learning that's happening in their classrooms. So some of the cons, I guess, is about how do students access tutorials outside of class time. So the use of the internet becomes more of a necessity, which for some students is still a struggle and an equity issue for schools. You have to set the guidelines and the expectations that they're actually going to watch the content and do the content at home. So when they come into the classroom, it's not like, oh, sir, I didn't do that. So one way to just combat the Wi-Fi, by the way, is to say have a couple of laptops in your classroom set aside and students can either come in during lunchtime or recess and watch the content. I know it's not ideal, don't get me wrong, but I think it is a way that we can work with students to help them have that equity when it's necessary. Working on students working in different sort of activities in the classroom means you're going to have to manage yourself maybe perhaps a little bit more than done in the past. Mind you, the primary, you guys have got that all sorted, so don't stress. But knowing, having some different activities, knowing what your students know, and also the flipped classroom, the success of it comes from the pedagogy behind it. It's like any really good innovation. It's about making sure that it's not just about the technology, that it's about what you're actually doing in your classroom. Okay. So I guess it's you really do have to think about the questions and some questioning strategies within your school. So if you're using the six strategy, or if you're using Bloom's taxonomy strategy, or if you're using visible thinking strategy, it doesn't matter what you're using, as long as you're using some sort of discussion or some strategy to get really good questions happening in your classroom. You want to come back in, like in the ultimate nirvana flipped classroom. Kids, every single student has watched the videos. You can understand what knowledge they're coming to your class in, so that you can pitch really high order questions that they're not just going to answer straight away, that they're going to be able to, going to have those, those awesome discussions that you didn't expect in your classroom, those ones. That's what you're heading with the flipped learning, because they've all been able to chat about it and think about it at home. Okay, so think about then some questions to guide your flipping decisions. What are you going to do in your classroom? Think about things like, where will you bring together, or where are you going to curate your resources for students to access? So are you going to use a Moodle and link out to the content? Are you going to create a website that students access to get to the content? Are you going to use a small or oh my goodness, a blend space, or are you going to use ThingLink, or what are you going to use to bring all these content that you've created and you expect them to watch together? Are you going to use pre-created content? And there's quite a bit out there. I'll walk you through some of those shortly. Or are you going to create your own? And if you're creating your own, the Adobe tools will help you with that. How are you going to ensure that students have completed work before returning to class for deeper questions? So what are you going to do to tap in and know that they've watched it? So are you going to pitch some questions to them so that they have to answer you somehow, or Edmodo as well, and they have to answer you so that you know, well, how are you going to know that they've done it? And then last of all, what are you going to do to ensure deeper questioning and knowledge construction in your classroom after they've viewed the content at home? So you've sent them home, they've all had a look, but what are you actually going to do to your classroom to make it higher order? These sort of some questions you might like to ask yourself, and these are all available on a site that I'm going to show you shortly. So if you are delivering content, some of the things, and I know Dema, this is one that you particularly use, is Blend Space, which is a really cool place to be creating learning pathways for people. You might like to use Weebly. As Office 365 opens up around the place, you can use that. You can create a site and use that. Edmodo will allow you to do that, creating learning journeys at Scootle if you're curating content. CK12 is another place which has maths and science videos, which is really cool. TED is another place. Sophia is a wonderful place for you to grab some pre-created content. Mentor Mob is another place, or Law is a great place. So what are you going to do in terms of delivering the content to the students? Where can you find pre-created content? Well, there's Sophia.com. I mentioned that before. This seems to be, I don't know why, but in my journeys of flipped learning, Sophia.com seems to be putting a lot of effort and focus into the word flipped learning. And they might be a great place for you to start having a look at what some people are doing. The Khan Academy as well has got lots of pre-created content. Don't forget the YouTube is blocked during school, but this is often work we're doing at home, so the students should be able to access it at home especially if they're on BYO devices or home devices. Just be wary that the department, the old devices will still lock out YouTube. CK12 is a curriculum K-12 site. It's a UK site, but has a whole heap of content, amazing stuff on there. Shmoop is great for English teachers, and please type in and share anything you use in the chat pod. ABC Splash, you can find all sorts of content on there. If you've all been on to ABC Smash, it's like this amazing place. I really hope they don't cut the funding for it. Scootle, a lot of the tail stuff is now mapped through to Scootle, so you can create learning journeys there. And of course, TED-Ed, you can create your own learning journeys for people to pop into with TED-Ed. So that might be something that you can have a think about. What are you going to, where are you going to host your content? And then are you going to use pre-created content or your own content? Okay, so I've got this awesome video. So Adobe's been putting a lot of effort into flipped learning. And one of their senior evangelists goes by the name of Dr. Alan Partridge. And he's a wonderful guy. And he did this quick little video to explain it. So we're just going to play that for a second, and we'll be back.
Flipped learning is a movement in education where the students, instead of having lecture in class and then going home to do their homework alone, they're actually being given the information that would have been covered by the teacher outside of class in the form of videos or other interactive content, and then the time saved is spent together with the teacher in the classroom, engaging in activities and exercises to learn more. The whole flipped learning experience is about bringing those new activities, the group activities, and those interactions with the teacher to the learner inside of the classroom space so that everybody benefits more. Presenter makes it really simple to take your existing teaching content like PowerPoint slides and worksheets and things like that into content that can be interactive or can be pure video in your outside of class experiences. All you have to do is create a quick professional looking video with Adobe Presenter Video Creator and then publish that so that the students can see it online. It's critical because students more and more today are mobile. They have mobile devices, they have tablets, they have mobile phones, and they can access that learning content in the offline environment. But also it's important because that additional time gained by the student working in small groups and working with the teacher directly has been proven to dramatically improve their educational outcomes. Early intervention is a solution that's provided by the Learner Dashboard that actually looks at all of the outcomes, all the quiz results and all the interactions, all the video results from all the students. And then by looking at all those results, it's able to predict which students are likely to do poorly in a class and then alert the instructor before they actually have a bad experience. The research is fairly recent on flipped learning, but so far it looks like flipped learning has an extremely positive effect on the outcome of learning overall. Flipped learning is a movement in education where Flipped learning is a movement in education